Welcome all, myself Suresh Babu Varadarajan. This is my second video on signals and systems in English. Today we're going to introduce signals and system to you all, and we're going to discuss what is analog to digital converter. Before getting into our topic, this is our first day on signals and systems course. In last class we discussed only about the course introduction. Now we're going to see the introduction of signals and systems. We should have few prerequisite knowledge before getting into our course. Those are basic mathematics we should know. Basic in the sense very basic, like differentiation, integration, transforms, basic knowledge on transforms, and basic arithmetic operations. Then we should know to understand the graphical representation of any signal, so that we should have a little knowledge on analytical geometry, basic graph knowledge, that is enough. Then we should know basic algebra knowledge, like what is variable, what is function, what is constant. These things we should know. These are all very basic mathematics. Anyone will have, I think so, I hope. Now this is our first unit in our course. Name of this unit is classification of signals and systems. Under this unit we are going to discuss a few basic signals, standard signals, like unit step signal, unit ramp, unit impulse signal, and real signals, complex exponential and sinusoidal signals. These are the standard basic signals that we are going to see, its definitions and mathematical models and its graphical representation. Then we are going to see types of classifications of signals, like there are many ways to classify a signal in our course. Those types we are going to discuss here, like continuous time signal or discrete time signal. Our signal is whether a continuous time signal or discrete time signal, and classifying it like a periodic or aperiodic, deterministic or random signals, energy or power signals. These are the types of classifications of signals. This we are going to discuss. Then followed by it we are going to discuss the types of classifications of systems. There are many ways to represent, to classify a system. The same how we discussed in signals, the same way we have many types here in classifications of systems that we are going to discuss, like continuous time system or discrete time systems, linear system or non-linear system, time variant system or time invariant system, causal or non-causal system, stable or unstable systems. These are basic types of classifications that we will discuss in following classes. Now first of all, before getting into our subject, we should have strong aspiration to learn this subject. So we should know the importance and significance of our subject, that is that motivates us towards the learning of this subject. From my point of view, signals and system is a very important, significant course. Why? Because irrespective of department or domain, most of the scientists, most of the engineers will use the concepts of signals and systems. Statistical analysis, in statistical analysis, data analysis, analytics, and signal processing engineers, communication engineers, civil engineers, even computer science engineers. So almost all departments of engineering domain will use the concepts of signals and systems. So it is good to know, good to learn signals and systems. As a general term, what a signal means, Signal is any quantity which contains information or data. It may be anything, our hand gesture, our vision, our speech, like traffic light signal. We will call that as a signal, traffic light. Yes, and lighthouse. Anything, we can call anything as a signal. If it contains data or information, we will call that as a signal. This is in general term, not in actual engineering perception. Also, while I teaching to students, giving lecture to students, I see a common doubt among students that they will confuse signal with a wave, because in our subject, most of the books, textbooks too, they will mention a wave as a signal, because we cannot show an example, a real-time example for our problems. So most of the times we used to consider a wave as a signal for our analysis. So students used to confuse it with signal, a common wave with a signal. So for a clarification, I am going to tell them that wave is not a signal unless if it contains message or data, because according to our definition, any signal should contain a message or data. We can consider a wave as a signal for our analysis, for our study, but not always. Okay, so, in real time, wave cannot be a signal most of the time. Now let us see what is system. System is any physical quantity which can generate or receive or analyze a signal that we can call as a system. But in general, system can be anything, like our room, our college, our institute, our government, anything we can call as a system. So it's a general term, but in our perception, in our point of view, system which can receive, generate or analyze or process a signal is called system. Throughout this subject, we're going to represent a signal as a function of time. Most of the time we will represent any signal as a function of time. Like it can be anything, x of t equal to 1 plus t, x of t equal to t, or x of t equal to 5 or 5t, can be anything. We will represent a signal graphically too, like let me give an example so that it will be clear for you. A system can be drawn, a signal can be represented like this graphically. Here it is 0. This is x of t. It can be like this, represented like this. I'm just giving an example. Okay. It's a graphical representation of a continuous time signal. Any discrete time signal can be represented in different way. I will explain that too in next slide. This is how we represent signal. Okay, let me give an example for discrete time signal to representation of discrete time signal. Since this is discrete time signal, here it will vary, this function will vary with respect to n. Here it will be t. N is discretized time, nothing but. We can represent graphically like this, a discrete time signal. Okay. Now let us see how the system can be represented. It can be represented in form of a linear equation too. That equation may contain two functions which vary with respect to time and a constant term. Like let me explain you this way. Let this be any system and its input be x of t, and its output be y of t, and this is h of t. This we used to call as input response, this is output response, and this is system response or impulse response. Here we can relate these three functions with the mathematical formula like x of t convolution of h of t. It means this input x of t will be converted to y of t with some function in between. How it converts, that we can represent as a mathematical equation that we call as impulse response or system response. The system response will be imposed on x of t to convert x of t to y of t. This is how system works. That operation, what the system will do with this input, is called convolution. Okay, this we will discuss later in detail. Now, for now, you just have this idea that convolution operation is happening in between input on the system to produce output. That's enough. To understand signals and systems very clearly, we should know what is continuous time signal, what is discrete time signal, what is analog signal, what is digital signal. These are the very basic concepts that we should understand before trying to learn signals and system very clearly. So I have kept a module component device, electronic device, analog to digital converter. I would like to explain you the whole process going in between this device. For that I have made a classification, clear classification that may give you a clear idea about what is analog and what is digital signal. Any signal can be classified into two types. First of all, first one is analog signal and another one is digital signal. And again, this analog signal can be classified into two types. One is continuous time and continuous amplitude signal, and another one is discrete time and continuous amplitude signal. Simply we can call this signal as continuous time signal and this signal as discrete time signal. These two are classified under analog signal. Any analog signal can be converted to digital signal by converting from the, let me consider this as an input signal. This will be the input signal for ADC, analog to digital converter. It will be converted into this signal on first stage, then it will be converted to discrete time and discrete amplitude signal, and again this will be converted to pure digital signal, that means zeros and ones bit streams. This is how this process works. I will describe this in detail in next slide. Here we are going to discuss the blocks of analog to digital converter. What are the blocks? What are the components analog to digital converter contains? Simply, I will draw a block diagram that represents it. First block is sampler. Second block is quantizer. Third block is coder. Okay. Here in first block we will give input as x of t. That means a continuous time and continuous amplitude signal. Here both time and amplitude will be continuous. Here time is this x-axis and amplitude is y-axis, that means x of t. Okay, both will be continuous. I will tell you what is continuous, then first you just have this idea. And this output of this sampler will be discretized with respect to time. Time will be discretized and amplitude will be still continuous. So this n will be converted to n into capital T and it will become n. It will be represented as x of n. X of n will be output of this sampler, and again it will be given as an input to quantizer. This quantizer will discretize the amplitude too. So output of the quantizer will be a quantized discrete signal. This signal will be, this x cap of n will be discretized in both time and amplitude scale. It means this signal is discrete time and discrete amplitude signal. It have both scales as discretized. This last device is called coder. It will simply code the values of the x cap of n into digital value like zeros and ones. Okay, now I will explain one by one in next slide. In each and every module I will explain. Here let me explain you what is continuous time signal. A continuous time signal is, I already said, x of t. General representation, typical representation is x of t. It can be represented in form of a graph too, like this. X-axis will be t and y-axis will be x of t. This will be 0. Here why we calling this signal as continuous time and continuous amplitude is because if we take, here let me consider this as 1 second, this as 1 second, this as 2 seconds. The values in between 0 and 1 is infinite. How many possible values may be there in between 0 and 1 here? Actually 0, 0.000 up to infinite zeros, then 1, 0.000 up to infinite zeros, then 2. Like this we have infinite. If we place like this, there are infinite values in between 0 and 1. So we call this as a continuous time signal. Here in each and every instant we will have value for t. For each value of t we will have value for x of t. So we call this as a continuous time. The same way this amplitude will also be, let this be 1, this is t again, let this be 1, amplitude may let it be 1 and this may be -1. So the possible number of values in between 0 and 1 amplitude wise is also infinite, because as I said before, for time, here in amplitude too there are infinite possible values may occur in between 0 and 1. It may be 0, 0.000, infinite zeros and 1, 0.00, infinite zeros, then 2. It may move like this up to 1. So there are infinite possible values in between 0 and 1. So we can call this as a continuous amplitude signal. So put together, combinedly, we can call this as a continuous time and a continuous amplitude signal. Now let us see what is discrete time signal. This continuous time signal can be converted to discrete time signal by discretizing the time scale, like sampling. I already mentioned that this continuous time signal will be converted to discrete time signal using sampler in that ADC module block diagram. I mentioned that sampler, what it will do actually, it will take a few samples out of this time. See here I have 0 to 1 second. Sampling means it will take samples, only very few samples in between this 0 and 1, like 0.1. Here in this case I took 4 cycles, 5 samples out of half cycle of this signal. It means 1, 2, 3, 4. So the capital T 0.1, 0.2, this is 0.3, here 0.4. So sampling time interval capital T is equal to 0.1 seconds here in our signal, and this first sample will be called as n equal to 1, second sample will be n equal to 2, 0th sample is n equal to 0. So likewise we can number this samples, and its time interval is 0.1. so n into t will give us capital T, but our general representation will be like simply n, x of n. Why? Because this t is our choice, it is constant too, so we no need to mention it everywhere in function, so simply we can mention this as x of n. This is how we convert a discrete continuous time and continuous amplitude signal to a discrete time continuous amplitude signal. Thus we can call this as discrete time signal. Here time is discretized, but still amplitude is continuous. How to convert this amplitude into, how to discretize this amplitude, that we can see in this slide. Quantized signal. This quantized signal, we represented this signal as x cap of n, while we expressed discrete time signal as x of n 0. Let us consider 0, this is our discretized signal, time wise discretized signal, but amplitude is not discretized yet. It may have any value in between 0 and 1, any possible, there is possibility of getting any value in between 0 and 1, but our perception may be very blurred, like our understanding resolution will be very less. We no need to have very detailed data. So to have a detailed data, it requires more memory. Also when it has more memory, we may have many realization problem. It may increase the cost of the device. So convincing resolution is enough. See, for example, let me tell you, speaker or data quality while we talk on phone is different from a data quality, audio quality. In a HD movie, there its resolution may be very high, but our requirement of resolution may be less too. According to our requirement, it differs. So we can choose 4 values in between 0 and 1, like 0, 0.25, 0.5 and 0.75, then 1 automatically. So we have only 4 values in between this 0 and 1. If we get values in between this 0 and 0.25 as 1.328, what we can do, we can quantize. This is called quantization. We can push this to this level or to this level. There are 2 types of quantization that I will explain. Now I will explain what is quantization first. Quantization is discretizing amplitude is called quantization. Thus number of levels in quantization, it depends upon our requirement, that is called resolution. These are quantization levels. 0, 0.25, 0.5 and 0.75 are quantization levels we used to call. Each quantization level represents one fixed value of the set of possible quantized value. Okay, and the difference between one quantization level and to its next quantization level is called quantization step size. Quantization step size. Here quantization step size is 0.25 minus 0 is 0.25, or 0.5 minus 0.25 is again 0.25. This is fixed interval of quantization. There are many methods, even this is quantization step size. Now let us see the types of quantization. There are 2 types of quantization. One is rounding off method, and another method is truncation method. In rounding off method, if we get values in between 2 quantization level, like this is one quantization level and this is another quantization level. If I get value like 1.1823, here in rounding off method, we will push this value to the nearest quantization level. What is the distance between this quantization level and this value is 0.1823. The distance between magnitude difference between this value, this quantization level and this value is 0.25 minus 0.1823. So what we get is 7, here 7, here 14 minus 8, 6, 0, 0. So this magnitude is greater than this value. So this will be automatically pushed to this quantization level. We will discard this value and simply we will represent it as 0.25. This is rounding off method. If I get a value in between these two values like 0.0032, then it is nearer to this quantization level. I will represent this value with 0.0 only. This is how rounding off method works. But in truncation method, they will simply represent a value like let me explain you, give an example. 0 and 0.5 be 2 quantization levels. I get a value like 0.1832. Where I will represent this value in between these 2 quantization level is simply I will discard the value and I will push it to the previous quantization level. I don't worry about the difference between the values of quantization level and the value. Simply I will push it to the previous quantization level, which is just less than this value. A quantization level which has value less than this value is 0. Simply I will push it to this quantization level. It may be 0.212 also, the value may be. I will push it to this quantization level. I won't prefer this quantization level in truncation method. This is how it works. These are the 2 types. Also my actual value is 0.212, but I am going to push this to this value due to quantization. So my error will be 0.212. the actual value of the data, and after quantization what value we got. The difference gives the quantization error. So this is the quantization error value. The quantization error in truncation method is very high when compared to quantization error in rounding off method. Rounding off method will have very less quantization error, and in truncation method it will be high when compared to rounding off method. Now let us see what is digital signal. Digital signal is purely zeros and ones representation. Digital signal will be represented purely by binary values like zeros and ones. See, if I get this 4 quantization levels 0, 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, there are 4 values to represent. So how many bit of digital value I should I need to represent these 4 values is 2 bits. That is 0 can be represented as 0, 0, 0.25 can be represented as 0, 1, 0.5 can be represented as 1, 0, and 0.75 can be represented as 1, 1. So totally I need 2 bits of binary data to represent this all 4 quantization levels. Here in this way, any combination you may take, you can to represent these 4 values in a pure digital form. If I get values like this, set of values like this 0.25, 0, 0.5, I can represent this as a 0, 1 for 0, 0, 0 for 0.5, 1, 0. So this will be my bit stream for this set of data. This is how our data will be coded. This is one of the example. There are many methods to code. This is just an example to explain what is coding. I hope you all understood. If you have any doubts, you please feel free to write to this ID ece.youtubechannel@gmail.com, and my phone number is 790-464-9875. Please comment on this video's comment section. If you like this video, please share it to your friends and subscribe our channel, Curator channel. Thank you.